We're here. We're at the Forge, another premiere, another screening actually, here in Atlanta, Georgia. We're excited about it. I'm here with Mr. and Mrs. Arnett, who played Joshua and Janelle Moore, and I'm not crying tonight. They're here, and they are here with Clark Atlanta University. It's an exciting moment, right? You're the department chair of the Art and Fashion Department at Clark Atlanta. How's it feel tonight?
It feels great. I keep looking out there to see who I have in class tomorrow morning because they better have their homework done. That's all this, so it's pretty cool.
I have to say, well, no, I feel great, but I have to say, concerning the students, I always tell, I'll be the first one, just give them an F. If they don't do the thing right, just give them an F, tell them to see me. But yeah.
It's so not right, but he really does say that. Give him an F, give him an F. Shakes him up.
But what's been the response so far to the Forge from Generation X?
We have to shift our mind and shift our mouth. This group of young people are ready to receive the greatness of God. Now, who's going to be ready to give it to them? That's us. Yeah. That's us.
The real thing is that this generation is looking for the real thing. And so what has happened is that because people have not given them their proper due or given them the thought that, they're not going to do anything. We've talked about how the last generation was the great generation, but these guys want the real thing, and we're having to give them the real answers. And I think once they get it, they do something with it.
They do a lot with it, yeah, and they do it quickly.
Yeah.
They do it quickly. Alice Kendrick spoke about where we're more connected, but we're very much less connected. Why are movies like The Forge important in terms of bridging those cross-generational gaps?
Well, it's important because you're dealing with now calling the fathers to the sons, sons to the fathers. You're dealing with actually connecting them relationally, whereas it's from the core. And what has been is that we end up being on social media and all these other platforms, and we think we have a connection, but we really have a disconnection because we don't know how to touch people anymore. We don't know how to hear and speak, and those kind of things are gone. And so, now when we say we talk to somebody, we text them. That kind of thing.
And that's not a conversation.
That's not a conversation.
Yeah.
That's not a real relationship. That's not a touch.
Exactly. We talk about this all the time, is that, identifying terms. My husband will say to me, okay, let's look at the term. We make that definition. But when we say communication, that is verbal communication.
Yeah, I think, you guys always taught us if that person didn't hear it, you really didn't communicate it. And in the text, often you don't know if it landed or not. It's so beautiful to see the students who are out here tonight. What's the message that you guys have to the upcoming generation, given that you kind of shoulder, the ones that went ahead in this film and paved the way?
Well, we want them to know that they're loved, that they're seen, that they're sought after. We have not changed our minds on them, and neither has God, especially God has not changed his mind. And so since God thinks that they're precious, we do too. And regardless of what other people have said concerning them, regardless of how they may feel society has turned their backs, the reality is that God has not, and neither has we, the church.
Mm-hmm. Yes and amen.
Yes and amen. I mean, you can't say it any better than that.
I'll close with this. A young woman actually wrote into our company. You guys don't know this, but the effect that the film had on her made her want to do something for us. So I met with her, and she's a marketer, but one of the things she said that hit her hard was that we finally saw the church doing discipleship. She said we've seen fraternities, we've seen sororities, we've seen Boys and Girls Club, but she said she cried throughout, and that was the reason, to actually see the church taking discipleship by the hand.
The world knows indoctrination. The world knows that they have to reach your very core and take you whatever direction they want you, and they're insidious about it.
Yes.
And so for the church now to be intentional, it's really God himself being so intentional that the church has to follow, because we're really being rebooted by God. So yeah. I love it.
That's so good. Thank you guys for stopping by.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great night.